Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Salad Bowl Podcast. Today, we're going to hop into an episode where I get to share with you one of my favorite people on this earth. I'm looking forward to normalize authenticity. Let's hop right into this episode and get started. All right, welcome back to the Salad Bowl Podcast. Today I have with me one of my favorite people, Julissa Sosa. Usually what I do is I usually allow my guests to introduce themselves, but I'm going to do something different today because I wanted to put together an introduction for Julissa, and then we're going to get into who Julissa really is.
Right.
Here we go. So Julissa's a lot of things. She has a diverse background, a native from Georgia, but has a lot of life experiences from Florida to Washington to even living in South America, Colombia, and New York. She's a mother to a vibrant teen daughter, True, and she is the partner to Felice, who's a grounded counselor and a sister that I inherited by way of my bride. And from my perspective, I would say that Julissa is the glue of a lot of relationships that I see that she's in. She's known to be intuitive and connecting a lot of different people. As far as a professional, she's a director of special education for K4, a special education teacher for K4, and she also coaches new special education teachers who are coming into the field. She has 10 plus years of experience in doing this, so she's not new to this kind of work. And she has her associate's degree in general studies, dual bachelor's in special education and general education, a master's in curriculum and instruction. And I wanted to make sure I asked a couple different people about you, but what they said, I won't say verbatim, but they came down to saying that Julissa is a bubbly personality rooted in care, family, and growth in faith. Which I think is pretty spot on. Wow. And last but not least, I would say she's a natural leader and inspiring in her role in whatever role that she takes on. What do you think about that introduction?
That's nice. When you hear yourself like the big pieces, I think that's always interesting.
Yeah.
You're like,
well,
I am.
There's two things about that. One is this is why I wanted to do the introduction the way I did, is because usually I talk to people, the people I vibe with the most are the most humble. So they're not going to, if I say introduce yourself, you're not going to give me that, right? You're going to give me, I just love everyone. And you're going to give me the wave tops, right?
Yes.
But you're not going to give me the things that I think that our listeners would actually want to know about you that actually make up who you are. The big question is, how do you fit all of those accolades into 33 years?
Good question. I think still smiling because I think that's really cool. Thank you. I think it's all I do this thing at work a lot where I say one task at a time, 1 hour at a time. I break it down because, life can be overwhelming. And I think that's what helped me put vision as to what I want to do and take it literally one task and one accomplishment at a time. So that's really cool. I have been in education for a long time. I think because I have been in education a long time, my path is kind of already set in a way. You do this, then you do this, then you do this. So I think the experience works for me to have all these wonderful accolades. And then in you reading that, I think about all the other cool things that I do too. I do have a cool kid.
I'd say so.
She's cool.
For sure.
My relationship's dope. Shout out to Fee.
Yeah.
We have a great family, all of us.
So seeing as though this is what you're currently looking at right now, is this something that you would have envisioned
No.
when you were your daughter's age?
No, I didn't want to be a teacher.
Really?
At all. No, I had when I was really small, you play with your dolls and stuff. You teach and you're like, I want to be a teacher. I did not want to be a teacher. I was in the medical field before this.
Really?
I was a phlebotomist for a couple years, actually.
I didn't know this about you.
There you go. Phlebotomist, couple years. I did blood banks, the vans and stuff that drive blood banks, clinics in nighttime, poking people in the night for hospitals. So I did that for a little while, and I could say I could have been happy doing that too.
Okay.
But I think that I'm happiest in schools. I'm
Okay.
happiest with kids. It's really amazing how you could fit all that in 33 years. It is. But it was not always my path. I didn't
Really?
always.
Well, I mean, I see you, of course, like, okay, so you're a teacher, but I've always said that it takes a special gift in order to do your line of teaching, right?
Yeah.
Like, I already see, you know, we have a lot of teachers in the family.
We do.
And, you know, I already see their patience level tested at certain times,
All the
dealing
time.
with, you know, students, no matter if it's high school or younger. But how did you get into special education?
Actually, your other sister, Caitlin, I was a volunteer.
Really?
Speaking Spanish for her school. And I was speaking Spanish and doing my thing. And they were like, oh, great, you speak Spanish. Do you want a job here? And I was like, yeah. So I worked in the office. And then
No
we
kidding.
had a new student enroll who only spoke Spanish or understood Spanish. She was nonverbal. And so they were like, we need you to help us out with this little girl. And so I did. And then from then, I was like a part-time paraprofessional at that time. And from then I was like, oh man, I'm getting beat up, I'm getting bit, I'm getting run ragged.
Really?
in here. Yeah. And then I was like, and then something happened. Like she was getting comfortable with me and we were growing a little bit, but we were growing. And then I was like, okay, I need to unlock her. I need to like be able to, for her to function in the world.
Really?
Like see everybody see her like I see her. Like she's so beautiful. She's so cool. Yeah, she's a little bitey.
Yeah.
But she's a dope little girl. And so then from then I was like, that's been my thing, like figuring out the keys to unlock the students who people don't worry about finding keys for them anymore.
That's deep. That's deep right there. What would you say in unlocking this young lady that you came to be a teacher for? It kind of unlocked your passion as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And her growth, and although it was like small and not standard space, it's not the norm, right? Like how our children are monitored or like saying they're making progress. Hers was small. Like she stopped biting. She smiled.
Yes.
She ate more. She started feeling around, getting more comfortable. Those little things became milestones for me. Like took us a long time to get there. And then when we got there, I was like, this is what I want to do for everybody in this class, not just the person I'm like designated to.
That's awesome. I'm actually sitting here thinking because, you know, I work in kind of the equal opportunity phases of the military and kind of phasing out of that, how the diversity behind the superpower of you being able to speak 2 languages led you to your passion in a school where like maybe you weren't the person that would have got pinged on if you didn't speak Spanish to help this young lady.
Yes.
Now you missed out on a whole
my life.
your
On
entire
my
life.
passion, yeah.
The master's degrees, the bachelor's degrees,
I would have never known.
all based off of that one moment of a decision based off of your diversity and what you brought to the
Shout out
table.
to my parents.
Wow.
They only spoke Spanish to us growing up.
Really?
I was in like I think, what is it called? I don't ESOL.
Okay, yeah,
English
except-
as a second language.
Yeah, English is second language.
Is that what it is?
I think that
ESOL?
is. Yeah.
So that's the one. I was in that thing since I was like 5th grade.
Really?
Yeah, we were not bilingual children, okay?
Really?
And then growing up in Miami, you speak Spanish. My grandparents still don't speak English like that. Like
Okay.
My uncles.
Yeah.
And so you have to speak Spanish. And so I think that's just, I'm really glad my mom kept that
Yeah.
a part of us, like my culture and stuff.
So tell me about coming up then, because I mean, I met you. We've known each other. We've known each other for a
Let's
long
see.
time. Maybe
17
yeah, probably like 17 years.
17 years.
So who was Julissa before I met her?
Yeah.
Like, cause you've already mentioned Miami, Florida. I knew you in Georgia. You've moved around a lot. Can you walk me through the earlier parts of your?
I'll be quick. So
You don't have to be quick. Take your time.
You're right. Okay,
Take your time.
Okay. So my mom worked managing hotels.
Okay.
So she was placed in different hotels. So we always had to move wherever. She's a single mom, 3 kids. So we go where she goes.
Yes.
And so we would stay at these hotels or like stay wherever, and we would jump from South Carolina, North Carolina.
Okay.
Like I said, different places in Florida, Miami, Orlando. We lived in Hialeah for a little while. Moved in Georgia for a little while. And we were just jumping around everywhere. And so I never got to like go to school for a full year. for the longest, I was like, my mom must be running from the law.
Dang.
Like, what are we doing?
What did she do?
Yeah, like, why we got to keep going to these new schools like this? And it was never at the beginning of the year. It was like October. You're like,
Dang.
why? So anyway, but that made me and my brother a lot closer because we didn't have friends and stuff like that.
Got it.
Just us all the time. But then we moved around a lot. Then we finally got settled in Georgia, hence where my whole life really begins right there.
Yeah.
Meeting Caitlin first, then me and everyone. And then Felice eventually. We weren't cool at first.
Okay.
So like that's where everything started to feel like I had roots because we jumped around so long. So going to new schools and stuff, I was just always ready to be like moving and going. And Georgia was like my first taste of stability.
Wow.
So high school, did the Thug Dizzle in high school. Was an okay student. I was having too much fun.
Yeah.
I was okay as a student.
Just
We'll
okay,
say
yeah.
that, yeah.
It's crazy because a lot of okay students end up being educators.
Because we understand.
Right.
Like I was not making straight A's, like none of that.
Yeah.
It was just I was an average kind of student.
Yeah.
I like to learn. I can say that now.
Yeah.
But test and all, I'm not into it. Which is interesting how I went to school for so long after that. But so anyway, so then we're in Georgia, we're living our life, we're doing our things, and then had my baby young. I was 17 or fresh 17. Didn't finish on time, finished in the summer.
Okay.
Moved to Seattle because I needed help.
With the newborn.
So then moved there, and then I was there and I was like suffocating myself. And so I moved to Georgia again and was in a relationship and doing the things, doing life and not really committing to anything. I wasn't doing anything. I was just like mothering, and I wasn't even being my best mother self.
Okay.
So then Felice, my best friend.
Yeah.
Since Ben.
Yeah.
So she was always with me, like telling me all these wonderful, encouraging things about myself. She loved me from the start, which is really cool. And she was like, "Why don't you come to New Orleans? Come visit." So I came to visit, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of chill." And then I went back to Georgia because it was just a visit, and then it wasn't going right in Georgia. Everything was just like not working. And you wake up one day, you're like, "What am I doing?
What am I doing?
Like, what is my life right now?"
Yeah.
I have this beautiful child who I'm not being my best self to. I don't even know how to be my best self.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to be your best, for her. So then I just gassed up my Ford Focus.
No kidding.
Again, she gave me gas money.
Wow.
Drove all the way to New Orleans. Didn't have a job. Didn't have a school. We just started completely fresh. And worked at the warehouse for a bit. Love the warehouse.
Yeah.
Shout out to warehouse.
Shout out to the warehouse.
They pay weekly. It's great. A good place to
start. Yeah.
And so I did that, and then I became a volunteer.
Well, it's crazy you tell that story because it's like usually when you start a story like that, you hear of utter disaster, right? Like you're not supposed to be sitting here smiling, educated. Like that's kind of like I think what America loves to see is the from nothing to something. But it seems like you had to battle through life and really kind of like check yourself in order to get to where you're at right now.
I was actually talking to so we were joking. I did actually come here from therapy this morning.
Nice.
I just started that journey for myself too, because there's a lot of things in life that you don't realize make such an impact on you, and you wouldn't think that you'd be smiling on the other side, right? And so it's like really good for you, like to digest all of it, the background, because to your point, like I guess I shouldn't be right here, like smiling and chilling and feeling.
A lot of people would say that you wouldn't, right?
Yeah. The chances were not going to be high for lots of different reasons.
Right. I mean, coming out of high school or finishing high school late because you had a child early, things don't work out with the natural construct of what we assume that a family's supposed to play out. You move, and people don't think this. I know this in the military, and you've moved a couple of times, but moving is a big thing.
It's so stressful,
especially to move from the East Coast, move from the South out west to Washington State. Big differences.
Big difference.
Yes.
And you don't know anyone still.
Right.
You have your mom or one or two people, but you don't have your community of people.
Of course.
And so it's always daunting to move. Even if you move from house to house, it's just like so much stuff.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And then for you to pick up in the Ford Focus.
You know, that's a small little thing too. It
Right.
was jam packed. It
Right.
was so interesting. Like on our way, my mom talks about this a lot. How I caught a flat tire.
Did you?
Like so many things happened to delay where I was supposed to be this whole time. And if I would have just went and turned around, like after getting that tire fixed, right, didn't leave that day. If I would have stayed, I don't know
Where you would be at.
Yeah.
Could be still living in that reality of what am I doing?
What am I doing? Do you imagine living
a lot
that
of years.
for the next, I don't know, 16 years, 15 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an encouragement for even the people who are listening. Like, maybe you're on the cusp of making that decision that is very uncomfortable, but it needs to be made.
And it's uncomfortable because it should be uncomfortable.
Right.
It should be something that's going to change and alter your whole entire universe.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, that's. I think it was one of my good friends. Actually, he was on the podcast. Billy. He was talking about like when you go to the gym, growth is uncomfortable.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
working out, the soreness,
It hurts.
It
The
hurts.
dedication.
Right. But that applies to life as well.
Absolutely.
So, man, that's wild. So you made it to New Orleans and you said, "Dang, I kind of like it here."
I kind of like it
It's
here.
not bad. You
Yeah,
found
kind of cute.
found a little group of. Did you talked about the warehouse and a smile came to your face?
Yeah.
Did the people that you worked with they embraced you?
Yeah, I would say something that I will always feel connected to New Orleans. I'm not a native from here, but I feel I've dedicated my entire professional career to the community that I serve here in New Orleans. But I also just feel like New Orleans, since I got here, New Orleans has been good to me.
Yeah.
New Orleans has, like, come here,
Yes.
you know? And I feel like
The city
that's,
does that.
yeah, that's not a, I don't know if people get that in other places. I've never heard of it. I've
Yeah.
never heard of someone being like, I've been embraced by this city. That's
Yeah.
wild to me. I've never had like an ill interaction, like
Mm-hmm.
nothing but love. Wherever I stepped, just being myself,
Yeah.
received nothing but love. And like good people,
Yes.
good
People who genuine people as well. It's
Yes.
like I think about with me getting ready to leave the military. I'm the most ready to leave the military now being in this city because I feel more at home. And it's not just the family that we have here in the city, but like you're right, the city, it just feels it's a feeling.
good.
Yeah, it feels good. You feel like you're part of something. The
Yes.
good culture with the bad culture. I think I can recognize that New Orleans is not the prettiest city that you'll ever see, but the people, the traditions, the food,
man, I make up for it every
oh,
time.
every time. I'll take this over.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. Everyone I've ever worked with,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, you got a few haters. out
Okay.
here,
Oh yeah, that's everywhere.
But that's everywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
But like in general, I would say the
Yeah.
love, and I feel like I've had so many great moments, my first moments here.
Yes.
Like I bought my first house by myself here, you know. I don't think that I would have had the opportunity where,
Yeah.
you know, even something silly like my credit was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get no bank card from
Dang.
no bank. They were like, absolutely not. You're on the do not give cards. And I was like,
it was bad.
yeah, you know them aces.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my life. I was like, I put the money on the card so I
Yeah,
can pay you to
please.
get my money out. Like
Yes.
I don't know. And it was like, but the moment is supposed to happen, like boom, that happens. Then you're
Wow.
like, boom, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, maybe I should get my credit up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should, because this is possible. Maybe I should do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, speaking of the community, the people I was surrounding myself with, they got something going for themselves.
Yes.
So naturally,
Yes.
you're gonna do the same thing.
Oh,
and so
100%.
Like, New Orleans was able to do that for me.
Oh my goodness, New Orleans. I feel like a lot of people have origin stories that start no matter what age you are, whether you grew up here and this is all you know, or if you're an implant, you know, like or a migrant, you came here. The city has a way of
Welcoming,
producing,
yes.
producing authenticity.
Yes.
That's amazing. So you talked about buying your first house here. Tell me about that.
So, you know, I was living in that warehouse.
Yeah.
Working at the warehouse.
Yeah.
I was living with Felice and her aunts, all
Yeah.
of them. They welcomed me in, like, hey, come on,
Yeah.
here's your room.
Yes.
And then they left, like, timing. They just were like, oh, we're moving by this person. I've got my own place here. So I got my first taste of, like, freedom.
Yeah.
But, like, having a home
Yes.
freedom.
Yes.
Like, I woke up in the morning, make breakfast and juices and stuff. And now we're, like, bonding in a different way.
Of course.
And so, and then Felice went to grad school.
Yeah.
So she left me with the dog. Okay.
Yep.
She's still at the house now.
You're right.
And it's like, I had to really learn kind of how to be in a house, I guess, by myself for the first time. And that was so cool to me.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I got to get this.
Yeah.
And me and my daughter were sharing the one room. I was like, you got to get out of this bed.
Yes.
I need to stretch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Get out.
So that was like my motivation. So I was like, how do you buy a house?
That's
just went on
dope.
Google, I was looking it up. And then I was like, my mom knows. I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, what do I need to do? She tells me, I'm looking at stuff. She was like, what's your credit? What's this? I'm like, I don't know any of that stuff.
Wow.
So you start learning.
Yeah.
You start figuring it out. And then you're like, okay, boom, one step closer. Now that you know, now you can get to the next step. And that's pretty much how it happened. And then I was like, I'm ready to buy my house.
That
ready
is
to buy
so
my
dope.
house. I call it my little house.
Yes. That is so
Cute.
dope. I mean, just to actually, one of the last people who were on the show, we were talking about how the school system doesn't prepare us for exactly what you were just talking about. Like, of course, you were able to find success in it. Like, hey, you know, I go find I Google, how do I get a house? I build off my network on how do I make that work, and then at the end of the day, I'll put it to application.
Yeah.
But he was saying that, you know, maybe we could encourage or
We
put into our curriculum
We
how to
actually
do.
should. There's a few schools that do that now. They're in high school, and
Okay.
it's like, but it's like one of those like the most time it's not like something you have to take. It's not a mandatory requirement type of thing, but it's like a financial literacy class, and I'm like, yes, this is perfect. But then sometimes they teach you how to like, I don't know, fill a resume out or do a check or something like that. I'm like, we're in the 21st century.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be on the internet trying to find something.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we can just empower the youth to empower themselves by just looking at, it's all there in front of us.
It
You
is.
just literally have to open it. Change car tires.
Yeah.
Google is my friend.
Yes, 100%. At YouTube.
YouTube University, what they call it?
You ain't lying. You can learn anything
Anything.
online right
Anything.
now.
Yeah. So it's like, and even if we're not going to teach them how to, you know, have this financial literacy, we need to show them the ways of how they can help themselves have whatever literacy financially they want to have.
Agreed. We're going to take a quick pause right here when it comes to our conversation about life. And there's this new segment I wanted to start. We're going to call it the toss up.
Okay.
Now, the toss up is just going to be some random questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
But I think it's going to let our listeners find out who you are a little bit deeper.
Okay.
And really, to tell you the truth, see how we're more connected than anything. So, first question, there's no time limit, but I want you to give me the best answer that you have for these questions.
All right.
First question is, if you could relive one moment of your life just to feel it again, what would it be?
I have no idea. Let's think. One moment of my entire life to relive.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do the very first thing that came to my brain. I don't know if that's the right answer.
Okay.
But if I think deeper, I probably might have a different answer.
Okay.
But I think a moment that I love to relive is being at the beach.
Really?
Being in the waves, in the water. Being like under the waves. I see them. I can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I come back up for air. Like
Yeah.
that, you know. I think that I could do that daily.
What is it about the ocean or water or being on the coast that does something for you?
I think it's maybe it's the Dominican in me. I don't know. Maybe it's the islander in me. I don't know. But I feel super connected to the water for lots of reasons. I think the fluidity, the like carelessness, the strength.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the water is like me as a mom. Like it's chill. You give, you take, you give, you take. So I am like the water. And so being in the water to me, it's like I'm pulled, like a
Man.
connected.
If Moana 3 needed a storyline,
We're
we need to
here.
start there.
Yeah, the water is just so peaceful. It's so
It
good,
is.
and I think also too, like when I was saying like under the water and then coming out, I think that fresh, that like
Yeah.
newness in your lungs. You're like grateful for air.
Yeah.
It's just like it's bigger.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that concept. Oh, there's a lot of meat on those bones. All right.
Put
Hey, you
out.
got another question coming. All
Ready.
right.
The toss up.
What's a song
Uh-huh.
that feels like it was written just for you?
There's this, Mark Anthony is my boy.
Mark Anthony.
It's my boy. It's my homie.
I went to that concert not too long ago,
I went to
didn't
2 concerts.
Excuse me.
Okay. No. Yes, we didn't go not too long ago. He has a song. It's called I I Would Love You.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that song's written for me sometimes.
Okay.
Because it talks about like being loved even when it's hard or even when you fuss. And then in the song, he's like, I'm sorry that I was like mad at you, or I'm sorry about this. Our love is stronger. It's bigger. So I feel like that's kind of the energy I give in the world.
Yeah.
Like we're bigger, we're stronger. Our love can actually do big things. So I feel like when I hear that song, I'm thinking like, oh, first of all, he's singing to me. But also like, I love the idea that Felice would feel that kind of love for me, or that I would feel that kind of love for my child in that way, or just like such an intensity of love.
Yeah. I like that answer. Really good answer, Julissa.
Wow.
All right. All right. You acing all these answers already. All right. Let's keep it moving.
All right.
If you're willing to share, right? What's a small random thing that always makes you feel loved?
A small random. I know it immediately.
What is it?
Because she does this all the time. If I'm like washing the dishes and she'll come and like take my slippers off or my shoes off.
Really?
It's the tiniest thing. But to me, I'm like, you see me over here washing these dishes.
Yeah.
You see them on my feet.
Yeah.
You know, I like my feet rubbed. And then
Yeah.
you come and like do this little act. I think that's the coolest. It's also the way I knew that I loved her for real, for real.
No kidding.
So I feel like whenever she does that, I feel like you don't have to do anything else.
It's the small things, right?
Yes.
Dang. Yeah. And it's because to some people, you know, everyone takes their love differently. And not to dive into, what is it? The 5 love languages. I don't want to get all the way into that book, but like a small act like that for one person may be like, man, get off me. What you doing? What, get off my foot.
Yeah.
But to somebody else, that could be the one thing that, that's awesome.
It makes me feel seen. Like you see that I'm doing something, although it's like just a task, or I do this all the time.
Right.
It's like when she takes that moment to like show me a little
Yeah.
about it. I'm like, thanks. You see me over here busting my tail,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Another great answer. All right, here's another one. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Be gentle with yourself. I have a post-it on my phone. I mean, that says like, be gentle with yourself. You've already been through so much. And I put it on there on purpose so I could keep that as a reminder. But I would tell myself like, give yourself grace.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the right answers all the time.
Yeah.
You're not, and even if you do, you might not make the right choice, or you do what you can with the answers that you do have. So like, give yourself grace. It's gonna mess up.
It is.
But like, know that, just love yourself a little bit more.
I really like that. And I think that's a message that we all can tell ourselves, especially the ones that have been through so much. Sometimes we're always focused on what's ahead of us and what we're currently going through. But like sometimes taking a pause, turning around and being like, look what,
Like,
look what I done been through.
You did it.
Yeah.
And like, you need to sleep in a little bit. Sleep in. Like, be gentle. Give yourself more love, like, than you think you even might need.
Exactly. I really like that. All right. This is an interesting question.
Okay.
What's the most meaningful compliment you've ever received?
Let's see. Meaningful compliment.
Meaningful.
That I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Like, I heard that yesterday, actually. Someone told me that.
Really?
Yep. Like, I was like, oh, education, man. I got to get up out of
It's
here.
tough.
Right? Oh, Lord. You just got back from a snow day. These kids about to be wilding, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? And she was like, you're doing exactly what you should be doing. Like,
Yeah.
You can't go nowhere. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing.
You're serving your purpose in this world. It's good when other people can see that in you.
Yeah, it's cool. And always I'm like, is this my purpose? Is this my passion?
Yeah.
Is this something? Because I have so many passions. I have so many
course.
things that I like to do. But I think a compliment in my work, because it is a lot of who I am.
Yeah.
When other people are like, you've got it. Like, whatever you think you're doing wrong, you're not. Like, you've got it.
Yes.
You're in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. I mean, even you just saying that, it makes me think about even this podcast, right? Like, as I'm transitioning away from the military, like, I think everyone's searching for their purpose. And it doesn't necessarily have to come down to a monetary value, but like, even just your passion, I think people are just authentically designed to search for that passion and want to
Absolutely.
fulfill it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I really like that. Just like you are where you need to be at.
Right now.
Yeah,
And that can change, right?
it can.
For me and my friend always talk about it, like, we're not, in my opinion, we're not supposed to be here just to work, right? Like,
True.
we have divine purposes.
We do.
Some of them are connected to, right, the
Yeah.
money,
Yeah.
finances, because you can use that skill for that thing. But I don't know if that's like a passion, like your purpose in life.
Yeah.
I think that can happen in many other different ways. You can have different purposes to be here, but we're here, I think, in general, to create something.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Create love, create, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's the ongoing question. But I think the more that we search for it, the closer we get to adding more good things into this world. All right, I got one more question for you, and
All
then
right.
we'll be done with the toss up.
ready.
All right. What's one thing about you that most people don't notice, but you wish that they did?
First thought came to mind is
What's that?
that I appear strong and ready all the time, but that's not necessarily always true. So in the same grace that I give myself or try to give myself, I would like when people look at me, because I can do X, Y, and Z, I've been through whatever, I'm in this sort of place in my life that it's not always what it seems. It's harder than what it looks, and there's work that could be done, should be done, and will be done to match the outer exterior.
Yeah, that's a deep answer, and there's more there that I know that you're not saying, but no, that's it must suck, or not even suck, but it must get hard
Yeah.
to always have to be the strong one
Yep.
in the situation.
Yep.
And one thing that I've actually recognized is that a lot of women, especially women of color that I talk to, they're like, there's this persona that we're very resilient.
Right, yeah, sure.
We're always gonna, find a way out of no way. But like for that to be the common expectation of that's where you think my baseline is at,
That's crazy.
yeah,
It's
it can get tough.
unrealistic.
It is
It's
unrealistic.
unrealistic. It can't be.
Yeah.
You're back to you are not here on earth to have that feeling for yourself
Yeah.
forever. It just can't be.
Yeah.
You're not always supposed to bear something.
Right. And I would say that from my perspective, it seems like there's a societal pressure, especially with your origin story that you talked about, right? Like single mom, it's all on you, and you better figure it out.
Gotta
And
figure
if
it
you don't
out.
figure it out, then
You failed in some way.
exactly.
And now that I have not failed, quote unquote failed,
Right.
it's I still got to carry all of that every day.
Yeah.
So I feel like people just be like, oh my gosh, nice shirt.
Yeah.
Versus like, thanks for doing X, Y, and Z for
Right.
me, because then I feel like I don't know, I can do a lot of great things, but I don't need to be doing all those great things all the time.
Yeah. One thing that I've learned from you, just our interaction as far as being in-laws for the Gaddis family.
Oh yeah.
But I've seen you from afar. I think you're very good at establishing boundaries for yourself.
to.
And I feel like there's probably a journey that maybe you weren't always the way that you are right now. There was some trial and error, but can you tell me about your ideology or just your viewpoint on building boundaries for yourself?
Yeah, I think like a lot of things, you get sick and tired of feeling however you feel, and then you just like kind of break out, right?
Yeah.
And it was a thing of like always putting other people's whatever in front of my own. And as you heard, like that's all I've done is put everybody's something over my something. And so boundaries are so cool. I do it all the time with my family. If I'm not wanting to do something, I have that power to say no.
Yeah.
And I have a choice to either hold on to it and feel bad and have guilt over it, or let someone say, oh, people were looking for you, and have me feel a little guilty about it.
Right.
Or I could be like, okay, great.
Yeah. That part.
I'm looking for you too. Like,
Exactly.
I don't have to carry it.
Yeah.
I don't have to like own that feeling of that person looking for me. You can look at me for 5 minutes and then I'm out and about doing my own thing anyway.
Exactly.
So I feel like and also like knowing your limits. If you're tired, you can be tired and you can say, I'm tired, and you can go sit down.
Yes.
Like you don't have to keep pushing, like back to the strength thing. I don't have to I can.
Yeah.
I have.
Just
I
because
probably
you
will.
can doesn't mean that you should.
You should, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, chill out. Go sit down.
So, does that translate to work as well?
Yeah.
Like, have you built boundaries at work as well?
Yeah,
What does
for
that look
the
like?
Same, I'm tired. Like, you ask me to do 3 jobs. I'm one person. I'm constantly having to flex and turn and get octopus arms and now be extra flexible and doing all these things. And you go to, you go home and you're working and you're on the weekend and you're working. And at some point you're like, back to my original thought, this is not what I'm here for.
Right.
This is not what I'm supposed to be doing
right.
for my life. This is wild. For me to work, why?
Right.
I already give you 40 hours. You want 50 hours?
Right.
How much? You want all of my time, my essence, my being. I can't do it. So that was really hard. That's a newer thing because in the new position, I had a lot to prove, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I've accomplished a couple things at work, in the workplace, I'm like, no, it can speak for itself. I'm going to draw the line here and be like, not today. I can answer you tomorrow.
Exactly.
And Akeem told me this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whatever you do is still going to be there when you get back.
This is true.
You can do your whole to-do list today, and tomorrow you'll still have another to-do list.
This is
so
true.
why break your back on all of that? That's where the boundary comes in. Like, nah, I'm not. I can't work past 4.
Exactly.
I cannot.
I feel like we're by having that mindset, we're somewhat breaking a lot of like generational curses as well for people who came before us who felt the need to
grind it out.
I gotta grind in order to make ends meet or fill in the blank. But I think for us to have the choice of, you know what, I'm not gonna push myself that far because what's it gonna do for me?
Nothing. I mean,
yeah, I think that's us building privilege for our children. So they
know.
Yeah, the people who came before us worked so hard so we can get to the point to where we have the choice. Hopefully that goes on to our children as well, and they see what we're going through as far as building boundaries.
And what we do is, as parents, as people, as families, we make it better for the next one.
Yes.
For my next one is not for you to be working like a dog.
That would be the goal.
It just can't be.
Right.
Right. So it's like if my mindset is to scale back and also take care of myself so I can have fun with the people I love, then my expectation from my child is going to be find a way to make that your priority.
Yes.
And your work, your side.
Yes.
Like find a way to have this be greater than the expectations of you.
Okay. So in speaking about like your journey as a mother, right? Like you've talked about, could be rough in the beginning, could have been a little bit rough in the beginning as far as finding your space. Sometimes as a mother, not showing up as your best self or your best mother. And I'm pretty sure you're being extremely critical of yourself because I've seen you be a mom and half of what you do is enough. But what if there's a message that you can think of that you would want to leave your daughter or any future children that you do have? Like, what would you want them to know about you? What would you want them to know about you that would get them through some of the things that they may encounter in their lives?
Yeah. These are all good questions. Let's go. That should have been on the toss-up.
That should have been.
I think that I would tell True or my future children, my nieces, my nephews, that like you are enough. There's not this like thing you have to go do and find for other people. Like who you are is absolutely amazing and beautiful. There's so much pressures to be away, to look away, to wear certain colors, to like just this whole, it's just too much. And I tell her this all the time because she's a teen, so she does teen things, okay? Yes. And she's very into like her appearance and such. So was I at that age. And it's like what I would like that it doesn't matter. Just to like show up as you. If you want to wear that, wear it. Yeah. If you're happy, that's what you need to do. Like whatever that path is. So I think that I would tell her like you are enough.
Yeah. I wonder I feel like that happens to, I won't say everybody, but like there is a point in life, I've even come to this point in life where like the outward view of how people see me is no longer my
I think
priority.
With maturity, with age, because I feel the same. I wear all kind of wacky colors all the time. I don't
it's like
care.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and you start realizing, like, I guess the more you pay bills and the more you don't pay no bills over here. Yep. You can't have all this say in what I'm doing. And I think that comes with like development, right? Like of course. You have to go through some things. You have to have your own experiences. But also like I think it just happens in an age frame. Where like women stop shaving their legs or something. Yeah. They'd be like,
no, I'm good.
Yeah, why am I doing that? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if I'm gonna do it, I want to be able to choose. I don't have to do this thing. So I think it's just like with maturity, with your own experiences, with your own like strength through things that you can be like, nah, I actually don't. I don't care about that.
I don't care about that. And that right there is like, and that's okay. The fact that I don't care about that, because what's the expectation that I care about it all? Like that's literally impossible. Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Yeah. Dang. I like that. So of course we've kind of hit on it throughout the journey of you telling us who you are, but we bring up Felice, right? Felice is your partner, and can you kind of tell us how y'all found love? Because I don't even think I know the intricacies of how y'all found love.
Yeah.
But when y'all come over the house, when we're at family gatherings.
It's my boo.
Yeah, like I'm over there just like cheesing, just like, man, y'all are.
We're still pretty smitten after all these years, which is fun. It's not always like that.
Yeah. How long have y'all, would you say that y'all been together?
Yeah, so I always say officially and unofficially.
Right.
So we've been together since 2007.
Okay.
Well, no. I've known her since 2007.
Known her since 2007.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're coming up on 20 years pretty soon.
Yes. 2007. And then we became friends. Like I said, I was friends with Caitlin.
Oh, her sister.
And, and she was like, "Oh, you should be my sister. You guys will get along so great." Right? And I was like, "Who is that?" Yeah. It's Felice. She has her dreads. Yeah. She's with all the cool people that obviously I don't know. I wasn't a cool kid. So I'm like,
and this is high school. High school.
This is like probably our sophomore year.
Okay. Shout out South Gwinnett.
South Gwinnett High School.
South Gwinnett High School.
South Gwinnett. Yes. No comments. I don't know. But it was like our sophomore year, and she introduced us, and we were like, "Hi." Yeah. That was like it. Yeah. Hi. Bye. Keep it pushing. And then, but I've known the goddesses. I went and met Mami. I met the dog. Like, her house was right by my aunt's house. They were in the same neighborhood.
Oh, okay. So
they were like down the street from each other. So every time I was with my aunt, like I saw Caitlin, I saw Jamal playing ball as a youth, as a short man, you know? So it was like, I just knew people, I knew of them. And then we got into, I think it was our junior year, we got placed in the same class.
Nice.
And I think it was, I want to say, what was it, Intro to Psychology?
Oof.
I think so, which is funny because that's like her jam.
Yeah, that is.
And she was always so intrigued with this class. And I'd be like, whatever. Like,
whatever.
Cool. And we had to do these dream journals or something. And then we had to get in like a partnership and discuss. And we just started talking and we would have like little side eye moments where like someone would do something, we both would be like, what's up with that? What's going on, right?
I'm just envisioning your face and her face in a high school classroom. Like,
did you hear this? Girl, oh my God, right? And like with the drama, you're just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
So we just started clicking about like just funny little things like that. And then, but with the journal and like the talking and stuff, we had some friends like going through some things. And her advice is always phenomenal. She's a counselor.
She is.
But I think that I was like, wow, like she's pretty cool. She's a cool person.
Yeah.
And then we became friends, just regular friends.
Yes.
And then when I became pregnant, she loves babies.
Yeah.
So I reeled her in with that one, okay?
Yes.
So when I became pregnant, she's like, oh my God. So then she was just like kind of like looking out for me all the time. Yeah. And I did not know from a long time that she's always loved me. I had no idea. Yeah. When you don't know what love is like that, you don't know it's happening right in front of you from day one. From day one. And it would be like, I'm pregnant, my school lunch. Did you eat an apple? Like in Felice form, you know? Did you drink water? Like, and she would just always take care of me. And that's now looking back, like that's important. You want to take care of the little things of you. And then I always have such a place for her because she knew me before True. Yes. So she knew me before I was a mom when I became my identity for a while. So that was cool. And then of course she went to grad school, Xavier, XU, all that good stuff. I didn't. I went to Seattle with my mom, and we were just buddies, like best buddies. I would tell her all of my sorrows and like what I was going through, and she always encourages me. And she was like, "We should do this. Like, you're so beautiful. You can have anything you want in the world. You literally can." And I'd be like, "That's wild. Yeah."
But the things that we need to hear.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it. And so then I was in other relationships. It was like cool, and I would always find myself running back to her to be like, this is what's going on. Like, talk to me. Like, just talk to me. And we would laugh on the phone and just like be up all hours of the night. We don't do that anymore because we're getting a little old for that.
Yeah.
But we can make it probably
Bedtime,
like 12
be.
o'clock.
But
Kick in
exactly.
and go to bed. And we still have moments like that, which
Right.
is really cool. But yeah, we just kind of kicked it off. And then for my 21st birthday, we met back up. And she was like, oh, I think I like you. Kind of jam. I hope I'm telling
Nice.
the story right. Yeah. Like, I hope I kind of like you. And I was like, oh, no, ma'am. Like, you're a lady.
Oh, you told her no?
No. Like, no way. You're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Right? And
What would this mean?
what would happen? The world would crumble, right?
Right.
And then, life happens.
Yeah.
She goes, lives her life.
Mm-hmm.
She's enjoying herself in college. We're still very close.
Yeah.
Still, nothing changed.
Yeah.
We're still really, really close. And then one day,
Hmm.
boom, I was like unhappy. And then she was in Chicago. I was already in New Orleans. Like we're talking about a long period of time.
Yeah.
I moved to New Orleans, and then she left to go to grad school, and I was so empty.
Really?
And I was like, oh my God, I lost my best friend, right? This
Mm-hmm.
my best friend.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't act like that with your best friend like that.
Of
It
course.
was more so like, I lost my partner.
I lost my peace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I'm sad I go to her,
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, I flying to Chicago
Mm-hmm.
all the time to go see my lady.
Yeah.
And my lady having a good time in Chicago. And I was like, oh,
Not
no.
without
And
me.
So then it was like this jealousy thing, but then you realize like, oh man, I really like am into this person, and her being not with me is actually like crushing my entire soul.
Yeah.
And then that's how I kind of was like, oh,
That's
my
awesome.
girlfriend.
That's awesome.
It's like, yeah.
It's crazy because like I feel like I'm thinking about Felice right now. And the two things I would always say about Felice is other than her being one is she's extremely intuitive. Like she reads the room very well. And you could tell she's like always analyzing social gatherings. But the thing I always like when I first met her, and I've known Felice for
She did not like you.
maybe like 20. Oh, she hated me.
did
She
not
hated me.
like
I took her big sister
Yeah,
away,
you were
right?
done.
Like
I remember this.
oh my goodness, she did not like every. I would say like I guess they're dad jokes now. They were just lame jokes back then. She would always be like, "You're like the lamest guy." Like eye rolls for
Yeah,
days.
she'd be like, "Can you believe
Right.
this?" And I'm like, "I think that's cool.
Right.
It's fine."
But I will say that I always admired Felice's taste in music. This lady is
so good.
catalog full.
She's good.
Oh my goodness, she
Mommy
could be a
gave that to
DJ.
her.
Yeah. Yes.
Like all kinds of different tastes of music.
Yes.
And like,
Her musical palette is
Oh.
ridiculous.
and her DJing skills, if she was a real DJ, oh my God.
100%.
She knows how to flow it. She
100%.
read the room.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I've always
amazing.
admired. Yeah. So we're in agreement.
Yeah.
Of course, you're her partner.
She's
I
so
don't have
cool.
that. Like,
Yeah.
but like,
Always
man,
been cool. Always been
she's
cool.
always been a cool person and very self-confident as well. So yeah, that's awesome. That's my first time hearing y'all's full love story, and I'm excited to see in the continuance of it in the coming years. Oh my
We're
goodness.
excited.
See all the things that we've known each other this long, and all the things we've never talked
I
about.
know. It's the questions.
Yeah,
The questions got me.
open things up, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Remember when the campfire, we were like, would you rather this or this?
That was good.
This is kind of like,
Yeah.
that moment where you learn something.
Yeah, we just had a snowstorm down
Yeah.
here, and we were got
fires.
a fire in the backyard and sitting around. And it's even like the small questions that you can ask people, like something as simple as like, would you rather ketchup or mustard?
Yeah. you're
And
right.
I'm a mustard guy,
And
right?
I hate mustard. See?
So that tells you so much about
Right
somebody.
there,
Or
yeah.
asking somebody, what's your favorite Disney movie? I feel like if you answer anything outside of Lion King,
Then
you kind of dead to me. So
it's not old Pixar. I don't want to hear it.
right.
You know? Yeah.
I think that is a good life lesson. Is like sometimes it's in the small questions we ask each other, no matter how familiar we are with each other,
Yep.
that could take us to the next level of a friendship.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. The
So-
toss up. It's cool.
Yeah. So what I do at the end of all of my conversations, is, at least up until this point, is like give my guests an opportunity to leave us with something,
Okay.
right? Leave us with a message. I don't want to say, or it has to be scripted or anything like that, but like for maybe our generations past who may be watching this years and years from now, or the common viewer that's watching right now who just got to find out who Julissa Sosa is. What would you give to our viewers of the Salad Bowl podcast that they could probably improve their own situations or life with?
Yeah. Stay informed. Stay informed. You can go get and be whatever it is that you want to go get and be. You have to have like the courage to do it. That's my issue right now. Fearful. If you remove that, you can literally get and be whoever you want to be. There's to me, based on my experiences, there's no like real excuse to not having what you want. So I would say stay informed in the way to like get everything you need to get so that you can be in the place that you want to go. I would say that. And I would also say like smile, have fun, laugh. It's so important, hug somebody 20 seconds, I think they said, something like that.
Does that actually work? I haven't done it.
I do it all the time. I think it works, but I don't know if it's just because I'm hugging Felice or what.
That might be.
I'm going to go hug you for 20 seconds and see what happens.
So I feel like there needs to be, not to interrupt your last word here, but Mariah, my wife, she does that. She'll come up to me very randomly and she'll hug me. What I have a problem dealing with, I'm like, where is this coming from? What's happening? Yeah. I need to start embracing the fact that she's just hugging me for 20 seconds.
She might need her own endorphins raised.
You're right.
She'll
You're right.
You for. I don't remember the kiss one. There's a kiss timing too, but I
really.
Yeah, there's the timing, but like hug each other, love on each other. There is so much that will always happen around you, to you, but like your people are your people, and you need to hold them close. So like laugh with your people.
Yes.
Have a snowball fight.
Yes.
Drink by the fire. I don't know. Just like be with your people because they want what's best for you and vice versa. And I think that's the community to keep bringing. Yeah. Be with your people, man.
I really like that. Well, Julissa, before we wrap up, I just want to say, one, I love you to pieces.
I love you to pieces.
And I'm so glad you came by and had this conversation with me. I really look forward to looking back on this episode or just building on the conversation we just had in this little studio that our friend provided for us. Two, I just say, like, I don't think we hear it enough, but like, you're doing amazing. You're doing such a good job. I see you in mother form. I don't work with you, but I see you going to and from work, and though it gets hard, you're very resilient. And the way that you just navigate life, I'm a true fan. So I just want to say thank you for coming by, spending some time with me as I try to do this little endeavor. And
this is amazing.
Thank you.
It's really cool. I want to just give my little snippet too. I love some feedback. The questions are amazing because it really gets your mind going in a different way. Like I came in here with like one idea of what was going to happen or like what you might have asked and stuff. And I feel like this is a very authentic way to learn somebody. Like don't prep them like you did me, just throw them there.
Just throw them in there. Yeah.
And I feel like you really can learn a lot. So this is really cool. I thank you too. Cause as hearing myself, I'm like, oh man.
You bring something to
something's cool.
You bring something to the table, which goes inside the whole function of this whole salad bowl thing, right? Like
I'm a tomato or something.
Right. Yeah. You think you would be more of a tomato? Yeah. Why tomato?
Kind of like acids. Could be sweet.
Oh.
Could be round. It could be small.
I like that.
A lot of versions of me. I'm a tomato.
I like that. So now we have a tomato. We've had some other people say some other things of what they bring to the table. I think my main goal is like to normalize authenticity. Yeah. I don't think I prep people just mainly because I think that the people that come on, whether I know them for 17 years or if I've only met them at work, I think we all possess the ability to have a conversation and meet people where they're at. Yep. I think that's the goal.
Understanding.
Yeah. And all it takes is a little bit of time. You would think that there's a lot more that goes into this thing, but you walked in
and you just sit down.
You just sit down and we talk. Yeah. It's nothing too fancy. Yeah. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the next episode of the Salad Bowl podcast. And we'll hope that we get a guest just as good as this one. All right.
We'll see.
Awesome.
Bye.